Me, that's why I think this particular reading is so instructive about this event. If I was to write a lecture on this particular event, I would say, here's what I say. A was wrong, B was wrong, A hitting B was wrong, B talking about A's family was wrong, walking onto the thing was wrong, sitting back down, dropping the F-bomb was wrong. There's a lot of wrong there. There was lots of places that other people could have intervened. Having said that, it happened. And now what you do is what Wart and Kay both did. Kay emptied his heart and he said, Merlin does everything for you. And what does Wart do? Well, the nurse gives Wart a piece of meat, right? She gives to put on his eye to pull the humors out. And what does Wart do with the piece of meat? He saves it in his pocket for his favorite hawk, Balin. And I think, to me, that's where White's genius continues to unfold. The fight is over. Everybody has done this whole little dance of here. I know, okay, we know what happened. Here you go. Everyone's, you see how my shoulders are up and I'm uncomfortable. This is me. I'm uncomfortable. We don't know what to do. Wart, the damaged party, is given something to fix it. And the first thing Wart does is go, yeah, I don't need it. I'm going to give it to my favorite raptor who helped me out when I needed help. That's, to me, this is why I always think good comes from evil. I always do. And now you might take centuries, but good always comes from evil.
Okay.
And, yeah. Well, that is a foundational belief of my faith. Good must always come from evil because evil cannot stand. It'll always be turned over. And then new evils show up. Can't wait for next week to find out what we're wasting our time talking about.
Right. That's the thing. That's the thing. And then, it's like this whole struggle with, well, but, we also have to like live a life where we're not just hyper focusing on things that make us sad and upset. And, because unfortunately, a lot of the important things are not uplifting things, right?
No.
And so it's difficult to kind of put ourselves in through that all the time. And we also have to practice that self-care. And this is why it's like, I love when White will say things like, Merlin said gently, right? Like sometimes Merlin can be just cranky but he'll say, like Merlin said gently, perhaps what is good for you might be bad for him. Like he's just trying to just like the moments where we see a sliver of Merlin that isn't just the cranky wizard, where he's like, I'm just going to take a nap and then a nap and then a nap. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I like that and then Wart goes to bat and says, Kay has to be proud because he's frightened. And it just kind of shows how perceptive he is in that moment. And sometimes Wart seems so lost, but there's glimmers of that in those statements where he really has his belief in Kay. He's just so hopeful, as you say, like out of all the evil there's going to be good. And yeah, a lot of that.
So when I wrote about this section, I stole 3 words out of it. Merlin explains, I'm here for you, man. Okay, to Arthur. Merlin says to Arthur, I'm here for you. All right. Okay. And then Kay said, but that's not fair. 3 words. It is unfair. I think I'm right. I think I'm quoting it exactly. It is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have the quote right. It is unfair. That particular line, it is unfair, has provided me as much comfort as scripture, poetry, of all the things I've seen written. I was about to include human interaction, but that's not true. But it is unfair is really for me, a very comforting 3 words. Because I was born looking like this with the gender I have and the situation I have, you get a bit more of a free pass in America when you have certain things. Would you disagree with me?
I would not.
A slightly bit easier to be the way I am. And I know that. And I remember, and I've done my best, but sometimes I just have to stop and say and remind myself, it is unfair. I'm only 6 foot. If I would have been 6'8", I'd have been a much better discus thrower. Yeah, well, that's unfair, but that's just the way it is.